Welcome back, everybody. I wanted to come back and make another video. It's been a while since I put a video out, mainly because winter kind of came back a little bit here in the Northeast in New Jersey. My last video was the bees were doing great. I imagine they still are. You know, they were brooding up real good, and my bee season had started, and I should know better. Weather just completely took a U-turn. We've been averaging in the 40s, low 50s. Overnights have been getting down to upper teens. Still not turning my back because they are, you know, they're still brooding up, and I have checked on hive weights since then because I know that with not as many fly days for the bees to get out and forage on the maples that are still blooming, believe it or not, you know, you have to be mindful of their food stores. And this is why this time of year is the most common time for hives to starve out. A big problem we have in the Northeast is the maples start blooming and there's all, you know, the flowers are up there on the maple trees, they're turning red, but it's just too cold for the bees to go out and get it. But I did want to put a video out. It's been a while. I figured I'll put together a nuke and I'll do a video on how to assemble a nuke purchased from a bee supplier such as Man Lake or Dedant. And also I wanted to try out my new lapel mic. See that bad boy right there? So everybody can stop complaining about the sound quality. I got the old lapel mic. I'm like a professional now. Not really. The videos are probably still going to be pretty raw, and but hopefully informative. So I'll get the camera all set up and I'll teach everybody how to put together a hive body. All right, so here we are. Go over all the stuff you need. Obviously you need your hive kit. You could buy these one at a time, 5 in a case. If you buy them 5 in a case, I suggest kind of dry fitting them. You know, they cut them mass produced from like a board. You might get one from one board and a side piece from another board. So I kind of dry fit them to make sure that everything kind of, you might get some parts that fit better with other parts, even though that, you know, they're all kind of identical. This one was a single, so we're not gonna have any problems. So you got that. I use an impact driver. Big debates out there on what to use to hold your hive bodies together. The nails are just fine. In fact, that's what you could buy the nails from the bee suppliers. I've just begun over the years to start screwing them together. You do a lot of prying in the boxes, and I use deckmate screws. It is a little more costly. I think it's faster than hammering nails in. Some people use nail staple air nailers. Like I have a Senko with staples. I use 5/8 inch staples sometimes, 1 5/8 I'm sorry. And you know, sometimes that works, but I at least always throw a screw in up top. In the you know, the top one, actually the top one is up here, where you're going to be really doing a lot of the prying with your tool during the bee season and during your inspections. That brings us to our next point. When you assemble the hive, always make sure your handholds are facing out and up. I think everybody at some point has just accidentally put it on the inside of the box. Another reason why I like to use screws, because if that does happen, you just unscrew it and you're good to go. I do glue and screw. Even if I use nails, I still glue. I'm not sure if it's necessary. There are arguments online on all the forums. This has been discussed ad nauseum. Glue is cheap. I just use it. So what I do is just dry fit everything together first. This one was in my garage for a while and it got a little wet, and I had to kind of get it back into shape, and because it warped. So I may actually have a problem with this one, but we'll get it in there. Sometimes you just gotta persuade it a little bit. So you dry fit it. You know what, let's add one more tool to the equation here. And bring some persuasion into the picture. So we'll get it to go. So you get her in there. I used to use a speed square to make sure my boxes were all straight. I stopped using it only because they were always straight. I never needed to use it. Look at that. You know, if you get them together tight and you put your screws in, they're going to kind of square up. So, and if they're not totally square, it's only going to be off by a little bit. And it's not like it's going to leave gaps in the box. So usually if you just put it up against a straight wall like this, you know, it'll kind of square up for you. So you got it all together. Then you just take it all back apart. Kind of glue your pieces together. You don't have to go crazy with the glue. Just, you know, a little bit in there. You don't have to cover the whole surface. It'll kind of, it's such a tight fit that it'll smear that glue around for you anyway. Handles up, so just make sure you're holding your handles and you're good like that. A little persuasion. These, a lot of people are concerned about splitting with the screws. They come pre-drilled. The only thing when you use screws that you gotta be really careful of is to get that screw in there kind of straight. If you wander, the screw might pop out the other side. I'm only gonna do like 1 or 2 screws on each just for the sake of the video. You guys don't need to see me, you know, drive every screw in. It's just, we don't want to completely bore you. You only have to glue the one side, obviously. I'm only gluing the long pieces. The short pieces will, you know. Ha! Look what I did. See, I told you, everybody does it. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I almost put that one together backwards. It actually wouldn't work out on the short side because the teeth won't line up. So. This box isn't lining up great. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but you'll see it's not like totally flush. This box, the wood picked up a little bit of a warp to it from when it got wet. You know, it's been laying around on my garage, and the door was open one day and it rains, and it kind of warped a little on me. So we're gonna glue here. So again, you just have to glue the long side or just the short side. Whichever, you know, side you choose to glue. Handles are up and out. that in there. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I just whacked my thumb with the mallet. And I'm not going to pretend to be a tough guy. It really hurts. But I think I'll live though. So we'll screw that in. I couldn't find the proper bit for the drill, so I had to cut one. And that's why it's not staying in there the way it's supposed to. There, that's a hive body. This obviously is a nuke box, but it's exactly the same for the deeps, mediums, shallows. It's just box joints, glue, screw, and you call it a day. That's it. And if you'll notice, it's not, I didn't use a square. Let me walk over here and get a speed square and I'll show you what I mean by that. Here, I didn't use a speed square to double check, and it's pretty even. It's not perfect. Actually, it's pretty close to perfect. It's rocking a little bit, but that little bit is not going to make any major gaps on the outside when you stack these boxes. If you choose to make a double nuke out of this, it's not, and then it's pretty straight here as well, and it's not rocking on me. So we don't have any racked, sides. Nothing's warped. It's fine. Don't go crazy putting your boxes together. That's it. I'm gonna screw these all together when the camera's off, and we'll see you at our next video. Thanks for joining me today.